Really, sir. If there's no one ahead of me, I want to speak before I leave, if I may. 2 weeks ago tonight, when that storm rolled through Fulton, you may have noticed I came back in and stayed in the chambers till I thought the brunt of this storm had passed through. That was my reason for being here. I wasn't checking up on your work. I just simply wanted to let the storm pass. When I left here and headed up towards St. Louis Avenue, I noticed that a police car and a fire apparatus were ahead of me, but non-emergency. They were just headed my direction. I proceeded on home to Mohawk, and I noticed debris all over my yard, so I went in to change clothes so I could come out and see what I was going to have to work up the next morning in daylight. And I want to tell you, if you haven't experienced city services personally and just heard about it from others, they're amazing, the people that serve this city. Police and fire secured that whole street. There was a hot wire down, raining on it. I drove over it and didn't even know it. Fire department followed them. They cut the power off to that line and rolled it up and got it out of the way. The next day by noon, we had the electricians fix the house, and City Electric come back and energized, and we were back in business. I just wanted you to hear it from me. You have to suffer the complaints of others at times. I want you to know how grateful I am for the people in our hire. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We certainly do have some amazing first responders working for us, as well as the city employees that work in the rain, and certainly they were on the streets extremely fast. When we had flooding last week, why, we are so fortunate to have such a great crew.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll have comments from visitors. Please come to the mic and give us your name and address, and you'll have about 3 minutes. Seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I do have an appointment tonight on that, and I don't think you'll be able to vote on that. Appointment of Mike Schender to the Public Utility Board for a 4-year term.
Chad would like to talk. I was trying to interpret it for him, and he would like to come up and talk.
Oh, okay. Let me get this done, the consent agenda done first. And also we have the two back-to-school functions, so. All right. Does anybody have any questions or want to pull anything off of there?
I'd like to pull item number C off the consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very well.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, on the two back-to-school things, they are requesting a waiver of fees, so I think the council needs to be sure everybody's aware of that. So that was in Kathy's notes to us.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion to approve A and B?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to approve items A and B on the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, now we'll move on to item C, which has been pulled off for obvious reasons.
Yes, I'll need to recuse myself on this since I'm related to Michael Schindler.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the appointment of Michael Schindler to the Public Utility Board for a 4-year term.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item C. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Very well. Okay, now,
of times in Fulton, he's not getting the business, he's getting it other places. His people that work, they ask why he isn't in town, and he's trying to encourage people to get the business to get better and improve, but not having any calls from Fulton. He's had discussions with Fulton Summit, Jeff City, all them, about towing, and there's a list that has the names of each towing company each week. And it's supposed to be a sharing type. And he's showing picture and tries to get it and let him know, but he's not getting information. So he wants to know what he can do.
We can't address, the council can't address them at this point, but they can take his concerns under consideration. Just public comment.
So he's lost a lot of money over it.
What I would say, Kathy gave me the message, and my name's Courtney. And so I know there's been a lot of discussion. We do have a process set up here where people choose which towing company they want to utilize. But I did get your message, and I'd be happy to kind of talk with you about that process.
Okay. I hope it's better.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. We do not have any unfinished business. We do have some new business tonight. We have Scott Schwind from the NRC, the Senior Resident Inspector at Callaway Plant, and he's going to give us an update on the Callaway Plant.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Scott Schwind. I'm the Senior Resident Inspector for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission at the Callaway Nuclear Plant, and thank you for this opportunity to speak with you at this meeting. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission strives to be a transparent agency, which is why we value opportunities like this to speak with the public and local governments. I'm here this evening to introduce myself and our staff. I know we were here last year, and we appreciate that as well. We'd also like to give you a brief overview of our role in public health and safety, and to discuss our assessment of the Callaway plant for the previous year. With me this evening is Dawn Yancey, our administrative assistant, and Nathan Brown, our resident inspector. Dawn is a longtime resident of Callaway County and has worked for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for many years. Her experience at the Callaway plant dates back to the early years of plant operation. And Nathan joined our team last year, about a year ago, having completed his assignment as the resident inspector at Arkansas Nuclear One Power Plant in Russellville, Arkansas. In addition to his engineering degree, Nathan has experience with naval reactors and has served aboard the aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise. I've been here for a little more than 2 years now, and I own a home here in town. It was very nice. I could just walk here this evening. My background includes serving on a nuclear submarine in the U.S. Navy, as well as working for the Department of Energy's nuclear weapons complex. And I have over 10 years experience as an NRC inspector. I've served as resident inspector or senior resident inspector at 4 different nuclear plants now. And while I grew up in Texas, I've lived all over the country, but I find Central Missouri is a great place to live and one of my favorites. So we really love it up here. The mission of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is to protect people, and the environment by ensuring the safe use of commercial nuclear technology. As such, we maintain at least 2 full-time inspectors at each commercial nuclear power plant in the country. Our regional office is in Arlington, Texas, and our agency's headquarters is in Rockville, Maryland. Resident inspectors are charged with implementing the regulatory oversight process, which is a very prescriptive inspection program consisting of self-reported performance indicators, as well as approximately 1,500 to 2,000 hours of direct inspection each year at each nuclear power plant. We inspect standby safety systems, observe maintenance and testing, evaluate operator training and performance, plant security, and radiation protection, among other activities at the plant. Each year, we review the plant's performance indicators and the results of our inspections to form an overall assessment of plant performance. We use these assessments to determine how, as a regulatory agency, we will respond to each nuclear power plant. For example, a plant with only a minimum number of inspection findings, all of which are determined to be of very low safety significance, and whose performance indicators are all satisfactory, receives only the nominal or baseline amount of inspection. On the other hand, if a plant had more significant inspection findings or performance indicators that fall outside of acceptable ranges, they receive additional inspections focused on the causes and corrective actions for their degraded performance. Our review of Callaway's performance during 2023 indicates that Ameren is safely operating the plant, and they are receiving only the nominal amount of inspection for this year. I brought with me this evening more information on accessing our website, which provides more detail about our oversight process and also our agency's mission. In addition, you can find our inspection reports and also the performance indicators that I mentioned on that website as well. So in conclusion, I'd just like to thank you again for your time this evening, and I would be happy to answer any questions from the council or members of the public afterwards. I do have some business cards with me, and again, we have some additional information that we brought with us that we'd be happy to provide after the meeting. So again, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I've been out to the Callaway plant many times, and I've always thought that was a very safe plant. I actually worked out there during construction, but years and years ago. But yes. Do you have any questions for Mr. Bunny? I think we have 3 people up here that probably know more about it than I do by any means, but.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I was just curious, who are you funded by? Not Ameren, is that correct? The organization?
Yes, actually, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is an independent executive agency of the federal government, and we are a 100% fee recovery agency. So what that means is, for example, Ameren pays licensing fees, as do every nuclear power plant in the country, as well as, there's also non-nuclear power plant licensees. For example, hospitals that use radionuclides for cancer treatment. They have to have a license, and anybody that has a license from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission pays licensing fees, and that's how we recover our budget. So our budget is set by Congress, but it's recovered through fees and things like that as well. So, yeah. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to council concerns. Councilman Henchy.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor. We held a public safety commission, and on that public safety commission, 3 things that we talked about that were pretty important was the splash pad fence review. We decided not to go with the fence because we felt it was safer for the public without going with the fence. We also talked about ditch maintenance and ownership, and then we also talked about parking. One of the things that we talked about with the parking was putting angle parking on Court Street, but after reviewing the regulations and whatnot, we felt it was better to leave it as it is because of ADA requirements for the way it would be set up. It would be better for our disabled individuals to enjoy the downtown district much better than with the angled parking. So that was let go. Also, I'd like to support the Reverend in what he said about our fire department, our police department, and our ambulances and our utility workers. They've done an outstanding job over these last couple of weeks of very bad weather, and every single one of them put their lives in danger every time they go out in these areas, in these situations. And I'd just like everybody to know and be appreciative and to respect the individuals, especially the police, when they put up barriers and things to protect the public, that they should follow those barriers and not try to go past them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Councilman West.
Yes, sir, I'd like to echo that, and, thanks for all our city workers, day-to-day basis too. But we had a lady that drowned in Columbia in her vehicle. Are we sure is she a vet or do we not? Okay. It was a former director of administration for Fulton. And apparently they pulled her out of her car once, and many workers put their lives in harm's way in order to recover the vehicle. And it's an unfortunate situation. So most recently we had the flooding down here at the roundabout. So things I'm going to bring up tonight are my 2 favorite subjects: storm water and fireworks. So I'd like us to discuss at a future time both of these items. So the stormwater in particular, is there anything that can be done, and I know it costs some studies and that sort of thing, and I'm not a hydrologist by any stretch of the imagination, that we could do to possibly prevent some of the flooding we experience at the roundabout? I know it only happens every, 3 or 4 years. I don't remember the last time it happened, but it does occur, so I don't know if there's anything that can be done. My second subject I'd like to discuss at a future work session is fireworks. So our ordinance reads, and this was in our newsletter and it was also on our Facebook page, that discharge, detonation, or shooting of concealed fireworks shall only be permitted between the hours of 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of July each year. Okay, so this year we had a Saturday that would have been nice. I was planning to shoot them off last Saturday night, which would have been the 7th, would have put me out of, or the 6th, would have put me out of compliance with the ordinance. So I rearranged the schedule. But I think we need to look at this, because I'll be honest with you, I heard them in town on other days other than these days. And I think we should talk about it now. Too late for this year. Next year it'll work out for the weekend anyway. But I'd like to talk about a future work session on what we might want to do with fireworks.
Okay, I think that's a
all I
discussion
had.
we can have later
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
Okay?
Thank you. That's all I had.
Woman Reclus is not here. Councilman Stone.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The Historic Preservation Commission will meet next week, July the 17th. It's a Wednesday at 1 p.m. here at City Hall. I welcome anybody who would like to attend, both the citizenry as well as anybody that works for the city or anybody on the council. It's a meeting just like the rest of ours that are open to the public. We welcome anybody that would like to come and learn about what our strategic plan is and what the actions are that we're going to be taking over the next couple of years as a commission. Just echoing the support the last couple of weeks, I was a participant in the 4th of July parade, and that morning, even at 9 or 9:30, I did not imagine there was any way that we were going to be able to pull off a parade. And this city, with the crews and everything that the employees of the city of Fulton did to support that parade, made it happen. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing that we were able to do that. And then the last item is just kind of a echoing on the tragedy that happened in Columbia. We have a local gentleman called Derek Abbott who lives here in Fulton. He actually works for Columbia Fire. He was involved in that incident, and he has a firsthand account on his Facebook page if you're friends with him or friends of friends. And it's just absolutely amazing what they went through and what happened. And these are very well-trained people, and things like this still happen even with that training. But that training allowed others to survive that incident. It's just absolutely, I mean, it really touched me to read his firsthand account of that, if you have an opportunity to see that. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Luther?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. There has been no Airport Advisory Board meeting since our last council meeting. I would like to read an update from our airport manager, Mr. Matt Easley, on our current lighting project. So Phase 1 of the 1836 lighting project has wrapped up, and contractors have entered Phase 2. This phase will consist of the removal and installation of the runway edge lights as well as the PAPI lights on 1836. After those are completed, the removal and installation of new internally lit wind cone will take place, and Phase 2 will end in removal of existing beacon pole and light. And the final day for Phase 2 is set for July 23rd. The contractor is moving along nicely with the installation of both electrical conduit and the light cans for our edge lights. The east side of 1836 is nearly done. The rough end of the new PAPI lights has also been completed, and Meyer Electric will be continuing along the west side very soon. And then significant updates for those that do fly planes. The dual closure of 1836 and 0624 will begin on July 29th. This will be a 10-day closure of both concrete runways. Only 1230, which is the turf runway, will be open during July 29th through August 6th. Again, appreciate Kyle and our airport crew working through this project. It's going to be an amazing addition and upgrade to our airport facilities. I know everyone out there is very excited to see that completion. And again, just reiterate the support of the council and the community as my family continues to work through our journeys, but definitely just even listening to some of the other conversations, the way this community supports each other and one another is just, it's amazing. And to be involved with it firsthand just goes to show how amazing this community really is. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Combs?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Planning and Zoning Commission has not met since our last meeting. And the only thing I really have was just going to echo the appreciation for our crews and our, that have been out doing all the different work, keeping people safe.
Thank you. Councilman Washington?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To my knowledge, I think in the near future, we will be having a Parks Board meeting. It's coming Thursday. Thank you. We will be having Thursday already. No other concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Nelson?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I also would like to echo the thanks to all of our city crews. It was incredible. I agree, Jeff, that I wasn't sure if we were going to have a parade for the 4th of July, and I was amazed at how quickly our crews worked, and we were able to pull that off, and it was a great parade. So, and it ended up being a beautiful day for us the rest of the day. Also, Councilman Hinchy, I would also like to reiterate what you said. If there is a barrier, don't cross it. Don't go through moving water. You know, so many times we hear of all of these tragedies, and this time it was so close to home. So please, please, if there are crews out working and there are barriers, don't try to cross them. Just use common sense. The utility board has not met since the last council meeting. And then I do have one concern that was brought to my attention, and that was that we don't have sidewalks in front of the high school. Is that on our list, Kyle? It is. I was thinking it was, but I wanted to make sure and bring that up at the meeting. Do we have any sort of, when is that budgeted? Could you give us a, hate to put you on the spot, I'm sorry about that.
Kyle Brummer, city engineer. No, actually, we had a grant application in for that very thing, and we were very hopeful that we would receive that grant, but unfortunately, I got word right at the beginning of July that we were not going to get chosen for funding this round. So we'll just keep we're still working on that design. We're going to keep working on that, and then hopefully another grant opportunity will present itself, and we can work it in the next few years. We'll just have to see.
Thank you so much for that update. And while you're up here, could you give us an update on the demolition project?
Yes, the demolition project, I believe it's September 19th is when that's finally going to bid. The bid was supposed to be this month, I believe, actually, but that got pushed back. The state of Missouri did not have the final approval on the environmental for us, and which they gave me the go ahead to bid it out, and then they pulled the rug right out from under us. So unfortunately, we were going to have to wait a little bit longer, but in September it should bid.
Thank you for that update as well.
Kyle, what's the scope of that bid? How many?
35 structures.
Thank you.
No other concerns tonight.
The only other thing I would add, Councilwoman Nelson, is we were really fortunate to have some involvement from Fulton Public Schools on that TAP grant application. So I think there's probably still an opportunity in the future for us to work with Fulton Public Schools, and maybe they might be involved in that as well. So really, really hopeful about that, even though it didn't work out this time.
Okay, thank you. I don't have anything other than to echo what has already been said about our city employees and the great job they've done. And I was out that morning of the flood myself, and they were all working to get the roads safe and the barriers up. And yeah, we did have people driving around the barriers and get to the water, and oh my God, what do I do now? You know, I can't even get there from here. But there was roads open that all of our safety people, fire, police, could get to almost anywhere in the city. So I wasn't concerned about that, but I am concerned about people driving around the barriers, because we saw what a catastrophe that could be. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment on that? We talked about not driving around the barriers. If you see water running, don't drive through it, period. The Weather Channel said this morning that most deaths occur in vehicles driving through water, floods. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, that's true.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, that's fine. We'll move on to ordinances. And we have the second reading of Bill number 1713. Councilman Stone, would you read that for us, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Bill number 1713, rezone of 101 to 103 East 10th Street, an ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code a tract of land located at 101 and 103 East 10th Street in Fulton, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to move Bill number 1713 for third reading at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Very well. Motion's been made and second to move Bill number 1713 to third reading at tonight's meeting. That's been discussed. This is the second reading, so do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, Councilman, will you read that again for us, please?
Bill number 1713, rezone of 101 and 103 East 10th Street, an ordinance reclassifying under the zoning code a tract of land located at 101 and 103 East 10th Street in Fulton, Missouri, and establishing an effective date. I make a motion to move bill number 1713 for final passage at tonight's meeting.
Very well. Motion's been made and second to pass bill number 1713 for third reading at tonight's meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Madam Clerk, would you call roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hinchey?
Yes.
Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson? Yes. Ms. Reclue? Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington? Yes. Mr. West?
Yes.
And Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Thank you. 7 council members affirmative.
Very well, thank you. Thank all of you. We do have one announcement. The next council meeting will be July 23rd at 6:30. And also, we do have a need for an executive session tonight.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I do have one other announcement.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So, and Daryl, actually, if you want to come on up, I'll let you kind of build on this as well. But we got some exciting news today that we want to let you guys know about in regards to the Panhandle pipeline suit that has been going on for quite some time now. So Daryl received word that we're going to receive approximately another $412,000 in that. And there were some cities that were not so fortunate. They had to give some money back. So you want to build on that just a little bit, Daryl?
Yeah, there was some interventions filed after the first rebate, we'll call it, was filed. And FERC ordered a refiling and a recalculation. So that puts us up around 3.6 million back. But it also points out that the case is still active. So we could have been on the other end of that, paying it back to some of it. But we was awarded about $430,000. And we've told Mr. Dustin to expect that in the bank this Friday. So he will be looking for it to be at the bank this Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone, please hold back your excitement.
Yes, when we got that first rebate, they did tell us that we may need to hang on to that because we may have to pay some of that back, so.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
Yes,
very
we will be
fortunate
holding
that
on
we
to
didn't
those
have
dollars
to.
for a little while, yes.
And we even got more.
Yeah, little cattywampus the way it happened, but hey, we're very happy about it, so we'll take it.
That'll go into natural gas reserve at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Make,
It's for personnel.
A motion for us to go into executive committee meeting for personnel reasons.
All in favor?
aye.
All right, very good. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight, and I certainly want to thank you all for coming.
Roll call.
Yeah, go ahead. I was thanking people.
Yes, sir, you were. Lost my track of thought. Mr. Luther?
Yes.
Ms. Nelson? Yes. Ms. Reclue? Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Washington? Yes. Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Combs?
Yes.
Mr. Hinchey?
Yes.
All right, all members affirmative.
Again, thank everyone for coming, and we will move into executive session.